Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another video. Shout out to all the new people who have subscribed to the channel lately. You guys are awesome. If you are watching and you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button now because we've got a bunch of content coming for you guys. And if this is the first video you're watching, go watch the other 65 of our videos. But today we are talking about how to build a budget drift car. So yesterday we finished Damon's budget E36 build, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to walk you guys through exactly how much it costs to build a drift car that'll get you guys on the track and having a bunch of fun with your mates. I actually filmed this video yesterday with Damon and his drift car, but unfortunately there was a lot of wind and the footage just wasn't really usable, so I'm refilming this right now. Here's a quick montage of Damon's vert. So this is all about how to build a drift car for under $2,000, track ready, good to go. And Damon's car is proof of that. We built that for under $2,000. So to start with, we paid $500 for his 328i manual convertible E36. The car wasn't in the best condition. Here's a quick photo of it when we picked it up. But it was running, the gearbox is great, the interior is kind of a little bit so-so but cleanable, and the car's straight. I mean, the bushes were all pretty shot in it, the suspension was shot in it, but luckily if you're buying a drift car you don't need any of that stuff because we're going to be replacing all that stuff anyway. Now, you don't have to have a 6-cylinder E36, you can buy the 4-cylinder M40, M42, M43, and that'll work perfectly great for you. You'll still have a lot of fun in it. This car actually started off its life as a 318i, the 4-cylinder that I purchased running full car for $250. So if you have a budget for the car itself of anywhere between $250 and $1,000, you'll be sweet. Let's say for our sake $500 is a good starting budget for our E36. Next up, we're going to want to purchase a set of coil overs. Now luckily these coil overs can be had for very cheap, about $250 on eBay for these max speeding rods coil overs, and they will do you perfectly for quite a while when you're learning to drift. And once you kind of obviously pick it up, get a lot better, start upgrading the car, you can upgrade your coil overs as well. Funnily enough, I'm still running the max speeding rods coil overs in the front of our E36. They work perfectly for me, but the max speeding rods are going to do you for at least your first year of drifting. One thing I would say is this piece of metal right here where it bolts up to the knuckle is very thin. So my first track day out, I ripped the knuckle straight out of this. I ripped it straight through the middle here up when I went over a ripple strip trying to learn how to drift, and I ripped this right out. So what I've done for the coilovers that are in my car currently is I've welded in washers here and here just to reinforce it, and I've never had an issue after that. So if you do get these max speeding rod coilovers, I highly recommend just welding a washer in there. So coilovers, $250, shipped to your door, good to go. Add that to your list. Alright, next up in the rear, we're going to put some camber arms in the rear so that we can dial out the camber, because you want to be running about 0 camber in the rear, and then you can adjust your grip via the tyre pressures rather than by camber adjustment. So the eBay camber arms are about $60. They'll last you for quite a while. I'm still running them in the rear. I've had to replace one set because the bushes got flogged out, but again, for your first year, those eBay camber arms, they're going to do sweet. $60, chuck those in the rear, you're good to go. Next up, highly recommended, you don't have to do this, but I recommend you should, a bucket seat. Bucket seats can be had for between $100 and $150, sometimes even cheaper. I bought mine secondhand, still going great. The stock seats, no good, especially if they're the leather ones. You're going to go into a corner and you're going to slide off the seat into your passenger seat. So you're going to want to buy at least a bucket seat for your driver's seat. Don't worry about the passenger seat for a while, they can sit there and slide around while you're drifting. But yeah, bucket seat between $100 and $150. Let's say for our sake $150. Alright, next up, hydraulic handbrake. Again, not completely necessary, but I'd highly recommend just chucking it in from the get-go They're super handy. Whenever you're beginning, of course, you're going to be using that handbrake to enter corners. The stock handbrakes are usually pretty rubbish. They wear out really quickly or don't work at all. So a hydraulic handbrake is going to help you a lot. About $60 for a hydraulic handbrake off eBay, and then about $30 for the lines and fittings. Chuck it in yourself. There are plenty of tutorials on YouTube that'll teach you how to run an inline e-brake. When you do this, learn how to put the coilovers in, learn how to put the bucket seat in, learn how to put the handbrake in, and it just gives you that knowledge, so when you're at the track you can fix things as you go. Moving on. Another thing that you have to get before you go on the track, everyone requires you to have one, is a fire extinguisher. That keeps you safe when inevitably you do have a fire somewhere inside or outside your car. So yeah, about 40 bucks for the fire extinguisher. We have to chuck that in. So one of the biggest costs of the whole build is going to be your roll cage. So you're typically going to pay about $600 for a half cage, whether that's weld in or bolt in, between $600 and $800. I'd highly recommend going and getting your local dude to put it in, because then you're supporting your locals. Not all track days require you to have a cage, but if I was you, I would just put one in from the get-go. You can go without, but it just means you won't be able to take passengers and you won't be able to tandem with your friends, but you will end up putting a roll cage in your car. 600 bucks, roll cage, you're safe. Boom. Alright, this next mod isn't essential once again, but I recommend doing it, is a lock mod to give you more steering angle when you're on the track. Luckily for the E36s, super basic. You just need E36 LCAs, lower control arms, and lock adapters, which you can buy off eBay. So E46 LCAs push your wheels out a little bit further because they're a little bit longer, about 36 millimeters I believe. So and that allows your wheel to have more clearance for angle, and then the eBay lock adapters give you more angle by adjusting the pickup point of the outer tie rod, so it gives you more steering angle. So the eBay lock adapters, 40 bucks, LCAs will cost you about $100. One thing I would say, don't buy eBay LCAs. I made that mistake when I first started drifting, and you've ripped the ball joint out of them pretty quickly because drifting's quite rough. So get genuine, go to a wrecker and buy them if you have to, but it's much better than getting them off eBay. So $140 lock kit and you're good to go. Right, last but definitely not least, you are going to have to get a welded diff. That's one of these bad boys right here. Again, if you're going to be naturally aspirated, which is what I'd recommend to start off with, get a 4.44 ratio diff. They can be had out of any 318i auto. Super cheap, you pay about 100 bucks for them. Either weld it yourself or get someone to weld it up for you. You have to have a welded diff at the track. That means that your car spins both wheels at all times. Otherwise you're going to have a really bad time. That 4.44 ratio diff means that it's got really close gearing, and that means that even if you've got the 4-cylinder, you're still going to be able to spin the tyres. But yeah, so that lock diff is super essential. Fresh oil in it, chuck it in your car. Good to go, and that's it. So, just a little bit of a recap. You need the car, about 500 bucks. Coil overs, about 250 bucks. Camber arms, 60 bucks. Bucket seat, about 150. Handbrake, 90 bucks. Fire extinguisher, $40. Cage, definitely need that, $600. E46 LCAs, about 100 bucks. Lock adapters, 40 bucks. And of course the welded diff, let's say 100 bucks for that. Boom, you've got your track ready car for about $1,930. That's under $2,000 for a track ready car that's going to do you for quite a long time. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments below, or if you've got anything to add, chuck it in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative, and yes, next video up of course is the dyno video for this car right here. I'm about to chuck the new axles in it because we smashed the axles in at the last event. So very excited. That'll be up this Thursday, and then we're going drifting on the Friday, so that'll be a whole other video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Instagram @itsmikeblake. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.